Tonight on the Nightbeat, a local school worker fired for allegedly recording students get undressed. Plus, what's next for the Northeast ISD after the state says that its policy on cell phone bans at schools doesn't go far enough. Plus, an ethics complaint against the mayor dismissed. What led to that decision and ultimately what it means for San Antonio.
Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Tonight, a man who worked at a local Catholic high school now under criminal investigation for allegedly secretly recording students as they changed clothes. And not only that, San Antonio police say that the same man is also on tape having sex with another adult. All we know about the man right now is that he's 34 years old, and Holy Cross High School fired him last week. Investigators say that a staff member there who shared an office with the suspect noticed an alarm clock with what they believed was a lens. SAPD says that it also had an SD card and that when they looked at the footage, they say it showed at least 3 students changing clothes on tape. It's unclear when that footage was recorded, but on Friday, the school's principal sent parents a letter saying that the employee was terminated after an alleged, quote, credible report of misconduct on campus. One grandparent told us that they wish the school had said more about what happened.
Shouldn't happen. That's why you send them to a private school thinking that your grandkids or kids are going to be protected, and they're not. I mean, we don't know how long this has been going on.
We know that as of tonight, the suspect is not in custody. Teachers or staff members at more than 120 school districts across Texas now under investigation over what they may have shared online about the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The Texas Education Agency says that it's received more than 350 complaints about social media posts, and some of those teachers work for 13 school districts right in our area. After Kirk's death, TEA Commissioner Mike Morath says that the agency would investigate educators accused of posting inappropriate content related to Kirk's death on social media. Staying with schools now, Northeast ISD now waiting on the TEA for guidance. It has to do with the district's policy on cell phone bans. Earlier this year, the state passed a law banning public school students from using phones during class. But here's the thing. It lets school districts decide how to implement that law. So NEISD decided to only allow their students to use cell phones during passing periods. But the TEA is saying that doesn't go far enough. Night Team's John Paul Barajas now tells us what comes next.
The Texas Education Agency has issued a notice of an alleged violation regarding NEISD's current cell phone policy, so no violation has actually occurred up to this point. Meanwhile, NEISD parents at tonight's meeting say that the current policy is a great compromise. Put cell phones away during learning periods, but allow access while students are walking from one class to another and while at lunch.
Flexibility matters to my family. It allows me to send quick updates about after-school tutoring, PSAT study sessions, sports, orchestra schedule updates, pickups, and emergencies.
This is really about more than phones. It's about who gets to decide how our schools are run. And I believe that power belongs right here in this room, not in Austin. So I urge you, please stand your ground.
As parents raised concerns and said the current NEISD policy is one of common sense, NEISD Superintendent Dr. Sean Micah also voiced his frustrations with the TEA as they are asking for a complete ban of electronic devices throughout the entire school day.
And I feel like at this point, we've listened and we've done some things that make some sense. It's unfortunate that while those lawmakers who seem to agree with us had a change of heart, I guess.
The superintendent says they have sent a 4-page response to the TEA, including an invitation to tonight's meeting, but have not heard back. He adds for now, they are in a holding pattern with their current policy. As we learn more, we'll get that to you. At NEISD, John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Today marks 1 year since an almost park mother disappeared. Suzanne Simpson was last seen with her husband, Brad Simpson, at the Argyle. It's a private dinner club over in Alamo Heights. And that very night, a neighbor told police that they saw the couple fighting outside of their almost park home. They heard a scream and then saw Brad Simpson leave in a truck. Police arrested Brad Simpson and charged him with his wife's murder. And a judge has set a tentative trial date for Brad Simpson for February 13th of next year. Schertz police traveled 100 miles to Corpus Christi to arrest the man that you see right there on your screen. That's Aaron de Clouet. He is accused of killing a Schertz woman back in 2023. The victim in this case, Lisa Snipes. She was 42 when she was found dead in her home at the La Palmera Apartments. And more than a year after that, police arrested the suspect on a warrant for tampering with or fabricating physical evidence in the case. So the mugshot that you're looking at, that's a mugshot from that arrest. And then late last week, a grand jury indicted the suspect for murder. So now he's being taken to the Guadalupe County Jail on a $1 million bond. So this other man right here, that's 18-year-old Andrew Cantu, and he's under arrest in connection to the shooting death of a 14-year-old SAISD student. The victim was Simon Cuevas. Surveillance video showed a group of 5 people following him as he left school last April. Police say that Cuevas was beaten before he was shot and killed near Brewer Elementary. Bexar County court records show that Cantu, the suspect in this case, was taken into custody yesterday on a capital murder charge. We know that 3 other suspects are facing charges in connection with Cuevas' death. Switching gears right now, we're seeing that it's 80 degrees out there, and fingers crossed, some possibilities, some chances for showers, but the people who get them will be considered lucky, I guess.
Yeah, we have some hope for rain, and that's mainly tomorrow. And don't get too excited. I mean, we're talking a 30% chance. So most of us dry, but about 30% of south central Texas will see a quick splash tomorrow. And if you're lucky, a couple of splashes. But I think that's going to be the rare exception. And notice on Wednesday, a slight chance as well at about 10 to 20%. Now, today we had some action. It was just closer to the Gulf coastline from Kennedy to Edna over to Goliad, George West, Beeville. That's where we had upwards of an inch from some of the downpours, even Karnes City getting hit, but then it just fell apart before it could move farther inland. Tomorrow's going to be a different situation. I think the showers will be slightly more numerous and equal opportunity, not just closer to the Gulf Coast and along the coastal plain. But the primary time frame is between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. for the shower opportunities tomorrow. We'll jump into the latest Futurecast. I've got the update here. And we'll also talk about what we're watching in the tropics in just a bit.
Adam, thank you. Now a heads up for drivers on the northeast side. The northeast Loop 410 closure that should be back open by tomorrow morning. The west and eastbound main lanes from Starcrest Drive to I-35 were supposed to reopen this morning after being closed all weekend, but then TxDOT delayed that. Crews have been doing some construction work as part of an extension program. So again, the road that you're looking at on your screen, that's expected to open back up by tomorrow morning. No punishment for San Antonio Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones after she tried to bring the Democratic National Convention to San Antonio. You remember that this stems from a complaint that the former vice chairman of the local Republican Party filed, which was an ethics complaint, after Mayor Jones sent a letter of interest to Democratic Party officials earlier this year. And that complaint was at the center of a hearing in front of the Ethics Review Board tonight over at City Tower. City Hall reporter Garrett Berger was there for that decision.
The specific complaint that the board was considering was whether Jones had violated the ethics code by using the city seal and letterhead in her message to Democratic Party officials. However, a 6-member panel of the board seemed to unanimously decide in a voice vote that there was not a preponderance of evidence that she had violated the code. That means the complaint is dismissed and Jones does not face any sanctions.
Jones was not at the hearing, but she wrote a letter ahead of time and was represented by a former San Antonio city attorney. She argued the city legal team had found no issues with the letter and that she had a legitimate role in trying to bring big conventions to the city. She also pointed to comments that Kyle Sinclair, who filed the complaint, had made to KSAT. Sinclair told us in an interview he'd drop the complaint if Jones also reached out to the Republican National Convention. Here's what the board chairman had to say after the vote.
We don't want the Ethics Review Board to become a gotcha board, a political, either way. That's not what it's for. We're here to uphold ethics and the standards for the city of San Antonio, and that's important to us.
Jones's attorney, Frank Garza, also argued the mayor hadn't initiated the letter. A timeline presented by an outside attorney for the city showed the DNC sent an invitation letter to Jones after her election, but before she took office. The timeline also showed Jones asked the city manager to draft a response letter, the first draft of which was written by the head of Visit San Antonio.
Jones's attorney actually asked the board to impose sanctions against Sinclair, too, for filing what he called a frivolous complaint. However, the board chairman told us that's not something that they could do. It would actually require a separate complaint filed against Sinclair. I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Speaking of Sinclair, he had been the vice chairman of the local Republican Party when he filed that complaint. And tonight he told reporters that he resigned from that post last week because he's running for the 21st Texas congressional district. Still ahead, this is really a sign of progress. A river trail that was destroyed in the July floods now reopening. And guess what? We're going to take you there. Plus, nonprofits supporting nonprofits during the government shutdown. Coming up, how they say that you and me and all of us can get involved.
This is it. This demolition site could be the future home of a new downtown Spurs arena. So what questions do you have about this huge project? Scan that QR code to let us know. Coming up on Wednesday, I'm taking your questions to Spurs ownership to get you answers.
A former director at Texas A&M University San Antonio says that he left his role there after reporting high-ranking employees for improperly using their school credit cards. Daniel Garza says that he flagged purchases like technology that hadn't been pre-approved by IT, high-priced meals, alcohol. Records uncovered by KSAT Investigates show the school's former provost used his card to charge just booze multiple times.
Started in 1984 with the federal government.
Have you ever seen receipts turned in for alcohol only?
Never. Working for federal government and county government, I've never seen that, ever.
The full investigation into procurement problems at A&M San Antonio airs tomorrow on the Nightbeat. This is really exciting. You know, finally, after months of cleanup and repairs, part of Kerrville's River Trail is reopening. That area right near Louise Hayes Park was hit hard during the July 4th floods, and crews are still working to rebuild that area. But this morning, they opened a stretch of the trail between the Camp Meeting Creek Bridge to the Francisco Lima Street Bridge, and people say they're happy because it's a sign of progress.
The river trail was great, and it's still great.
There's been a whole lot of work to get it done to this part, and we appreciate it. There's a lot more work to do.
Yeah, but I love that everyone's happy about this. So right now that trail is only open during daylight hours, and people should stay on marked paths. So obviously still some improvements to make. Hundreds of nonprofits are asking for all hands on deck to help All Hearts on Deck. That is the name of a new initiative from a coalition of nonprofits working with city leaders to highlight their important work. The group says that 1 in 10 jobs in San Antonio actually come from nonprofits. So if you're doing the math, that actually comes out to 87,000 local jobs. The thing is that donations to nonprofits are down right now, and those same groups are going to be affected by the government shutdown as well.
We have a lot of risk out there at a time when the need for nonprofit services continues to rise even more and more. We need to be able to find ways to support our nonprofits at this time because so many of them are at risk of closing down. Several already have.
Nonprofits say the best thing that you can do to support them is to donate your time, your talent, or your dollars to an organization that you care about. Now let's go outside. Get a live look out there. 80 degrees out there right now. I don't know why it's kind of pointless to look at the sky there, but I'm just a little bit excited, keeping my fingers crossed because I'm hoping to get some rain, although you're saying, don't get too excited. For many of us.
We can all hope, right?
Yeah, sure.
And there's a chance tomorrow. Just consider yourself fortunate and very lucky if you happen to get the rain.
Got it.
Because there will be some showers popping up on Authority radar. Let's get to that latest Futurecast. We started it earlier. Now we have time to finish it off for you. And as I often say, these high-resolution computer models are very, very far from perfect. Don't pay close attention to the exact location where you see these showers. For example, 4:08 p.m., right over I-35 Garden Ridge area in about Hollywood Park. Okay, it's not about location, it's about overall aerial coverage is what I think these are best at representing. And that's roughly about 30% of South Central Texas between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, if you were extra lucky and got hit by a couple of these, then you could easily see over an inch of rainfall. But I think generally speaking, go into this with low expectations, but high hopes. Kind of like when I go fishing, especially ice fishing, right? Very low expectations. But you have the high hopes, right? And there's that chance. All right, here's a look at the cold front off to the north of us. A weak cold front is going to be triggering some of those showers. Not a lot of activity along it, a little bit right now, moving into the panhandle from New Mexico, and some of those storms in New Mexico were severe. But overall, it's a pretty quiet front when it comes to any showers or storms. A noticeable temperature difference, 72 in Lubbock, 74 Wichita Falls at this hour. But then 62 Amarillo, 58 Wichita, 52 in western Kansas. So you see that temperature difference, and even some 40s at this hour farther to the north. There is some legit fall cool air behind this front. It's just not going to make it here. So for us, it's basically a little wind shift line that helps kick up a few showers, and that's about it. The long range temperature outlook remains above average, not just here in our neck of the woods, but all the way up to the Great Lakes and eastward. About 2/3 of the country likely to remain above average. Here's the change. Western U.S. could actually see a little dip in temperatures and below average, which is just a sign that some of the cool air should start moving southward and dislodge from the north a bit. But what that means for us is highs, for the most part, in the low 90s. But keep in mind, the average high is 85, so definitely above average. And today at 92, we were 3 degrees shy of the record high temperature, but a good 7 degrees above average. And mornings are warmer again, upper 60s to low 70s, because the humidity's back. More on that in a moment. First of all, the tropics, the off chance of some development in the southern Gulf, highly unlikely. But what is likely is a new tropical depression, then tropical storm, maybe hurricane, way out in the Atlantic from this tropical wave. That's even closer to Africa than it is the U.S., but that's going to head westward. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Then we get into the eastern Pacific. Hurricane Priscilla swirling just south of Cabo, Cat 1. And then we have a 70% chance of development. We always like to keep an eye on the eastern Pacific because sometimes the remnants of those hurricanes will bring us some much needed rain, such as in early September. All right, let's take a look at our dew points. It's muggy again. You feel the stickiness, especially closer to the Gulf. Dewey's back in the low 70s. That's the tropical air. Around here, we have the muggy air, but it's going to turn. It's going to change a bit again by the end of the work week and through the weekend. Our dew points will drop off, and at least we'll have a lack of humidity with the above average temperatures. So 71 tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. By noon, 83, right up near 90 for the high temperature tomorrow. So 88 Bernie and Bulverde, 92 on the south side, Stinson Airport, and Poteet checking in at 92 tomorrow. And going forward, it's pretty much more of the same, just that slight chance of rain again popping up Wednesday afternoon. But mornings will be back in the mid 60s for the weekend because of the cooler temperatures. I had a really great photo to show you, and now our AirPlay's not working. Anyway, we had a beautiful sunset this evening. We've got some great shots on KSAT Connect. Go check them out.
Okay, beautiful. You know, I try to be an optimistic person, so when I see the Spurs doing well, especially during the preseason, I think, okay, keep it coming. I'm hoping that what they did tonight is a sign of more things to come.
And they did it with some of their big guys out tonight, too, like De'Aaron Fox, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell. So the Spurs were shorthanded in their preseason opener, and they still beat the Long Lions from the CBA, and Wemby was doing Wemby-like things. And Jeff Traylor, UTSA head football coach, says he is standing by Owen McCown at QB1 coming up. Keldon Johnson and the Spurs open the preseason tonight at the Frostbank Center against the Guangzhou Long Lions of the Chinese Basketball Association. First quarter, Victor Wembanyama has the ball. He loses it and falls down. Julian Champagnie gets the ball. He shoots and misses, but Wemby gets up to clean it up for 2 of his 9 points tonight. Later on, Wemby feeds the ball to Luke Cornett from one 7-footer to another for an easy dunk. Cornett scored 16 points, as did Keldon and Champagnie, and the Spurs take their preseason opener 119-88.
The whole preseason is like a big practice, so and we need to take practice seriously, so we take this game seriously.
All right, the Spurs will next hit the road to play at the Miami Heat Wednesday night at 6:30. New Braunfels and Bernie Champion will face off in our game of the week Friday night. Both programs are coming off of a bye week. Last time out, New Braunfels defeated Victoria East 42-3 in their district opener. They've scored 35-plus points in every game this season, while holding opponents in their last 3 matchups to a combined 10 points. The Unicorns' 5-0 start to the season is the best they've produced in quite some time.
It's been great. They said, first time it's since, I think, 2007, since they started 5-0. Kids have bought in, kids are executing, but we can't look forward too far, and we can't worry about what's happened already. We got to focus on Bernie Champion this week, and that's it.
A record means nothing, honestly. Tough district opponent, so we need to come in hard, good mentality.
We just keep playing together and playing smart and just play for each other. It's about us, and I think we can keep this momentum going and go into this week, and hopefully we can come out with the win. But we just got to play hard, fight, and keep playing for each other.
Bernie Champion enters the week 1-1 in district play. They most recently outlasted Seguin 57-50, but the week before that, the Chargers fell 41-14 to Smithson Valley. Talk about a challenging schedule to start district competition.
We approach the game with a playoff mentality, and we're going to do that the rest of the season. We're with the challenging district that we're in, we're do or die every week, and so we have that approach, a playoff mentality each and every week.
We're looking for a big win. We haven't won a home game yet, so we're looking to take back our home field, so it's going to be a big game.
This game's really important to us. We've circled this one for a long time, and we just got to get mentally prepared, and we had a good first day of practice, and all bye week we were focused on playing the Unicorns this week, and we're ready.
New Braunfels at Bernie Champion. Friday night is our game of the week. Time now for the best of BGC from week 6. Best pass, Brandeis taking on Lee. Broncos were up big when quarterback Winter Smith gives Lane Watkins a great ball. Watkins makes the over-the-shoulder catch for a 32-yard gain. Look again at that connection in slow motion. Awesome. Brandeis won 41-7. Best catch, the oh-so-dominant Poth Pirates at Nixon. Smiley Henry Benavides makes the catch, but this is all about the yards after catch. Benavides makes a beeline to the end zone after putting his defender on skates. I mean, what a juke by the sophomore wideout. As you look one more time, that was nasty. Poth was victorious in this one. Best run, Burbank Jefferson Bulldogs in the red zone. Handoff goes to Edward Rodriguez, and he's not afraid of contact. Bam! Running over a Mustang at the goal line for the touchdown. Edward wasn't taking no for an answer, but Jeff won 42-25. Best play now, Churchill versus Clark. Churchill running back Caleb Braun was a one-man wrecking crew. He leaps over defender, takes a hit, stays up, and then runs in for a charged-up touchdown. It was 21-0 Churchill after that, but Clark came back to win this one 28-21. Will Jeff Traylor make a change at quarterback? We got it after the break.